Hey campers, Chris here from the Old Cranky Workshop. Yes, as you can see, I'm not in the shop today. It got a little too hot and humid out there, so I decided I'm going to come in, enjoy the air conditioning, and work on one of my other hobbies. Yes, I have other hobbies, believe it or not. Because you see, I'm not just a woodworker, and I'm not just another pretty face. I'm also a scale model builder. I build mostly 48 scale aircraft and some sci-fi. I've been building models since I was a kid. I spent a lot of time back then in hospitals. Modeling was a great way to occupy my time. But that's not what's important right now. So if any of you were a 60s and 70s child, and you logged as much TV time as I did, you're going to recognize this ship immediately. Yes, that's right. It's the Seaview. I heard you say it. I've wanted to build Seaview ever since I first saw it in the 1961 Erwinallen movie, Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. It sits on the credenza behind Admiral Nelson's desk. That one has got to be a 3-foot long model. Take a look at the movie. Tell me what you think. So last April, I was at Pelican 25. Pelican 25 is a model contest and show put on by the Pelican Model Club. They're up in the Tampa area. Pelican is a member of the International Plastic Model Society, IPMS. IPMS is an organization dedicated to model building hobby and provides a way for modelers to share skills and techniques. Well, like I said, I was at Pelican, and they put on a fantastic show. Well organized, well executed. I've been to a lot of contests and shows over the years, and these guys just seem to have all their bases covered. I wasn't aware of any problems throughout the day. And if you can, I highly suggest you check it out next year. While I was there, though, I spent some time and money in the vendor aisles, buying model kits that you don't really need, but you had to have them. I got some pretty good deals, so I'm not too unhappy with that. One of the vendors was Cult TV Man. Cult TV Man has loads of science fiction kits from movies and TV, a huge assortment from the original Lost in Space, Star Wars, Star Trek. They also have a wide selection of the old Aurora kits, reproductions of the old Aurora kits. We all remember the superheroes, Superman and the monsters, Frankenstein and King Kong. I'll put the link to Cult TV Man down below also. Now what they also had was the 38-inch Seaview kit. Considering I still had some model money left in my pocket, and there was still some space left in the car, I took it home, and home it is. Well, that was a long-winded build-up for what I want to do. I've never done a model kit unboxing and review, but I'm going to give it a whirl here. Now stick with me, as I know I talk too fast, and I'll stumble and I'll mumble my way through this. So grab your swim fins, your snorkel, and join me as I crack the hatch, we dive in, and submerge ourselves into a sea of plastic. So before we crack this open, we have to take a moment to admire the box art. Now, if my research is correct, the art was done by Yoshiyuki Tanakai. He's a Japanese artist known primarily for his work depicting military battles and vehicles based on real and fictional subjects. I know, I probably butchered Mr. Tanaki's name, but give me a break. The closest I've ever come to speaking Japanese is when ordering a Sapporo. So back to the artwork. I've always been a fan of cover art like this. Back in my younger model building days, I would tape it up over my workbench. I still like the artwork, but I no longer tape them to the wall because I'm the guy that's going to have to repaint that wall. So looking at the box art, we get a good view of the bow and the port side of the SSRN Seaview. It looks to be portraying the Seaview just after launching the flying sub. On the underside of the Seaview, we see the twin floodlights. If you look closely between those lights, you'll see the flying sub launch bay doors, and they're in the closed position. Also, we see the bow floodlight, although I believe there's a wire cage that protects the bow light. In the movie, the anchor chain from an anti-ship undersea mine gets caught on that cage. When attempting to release the mine's anchor chain, the mini-sub does not have a very good ending. So let's see what we have inside the box.
First up, we have the two halves of the bow section. The 4 forward-looking windows identifies it as the TV series version of Seaview. The seam down the middle looks like it'll be pretty easy to seal up and smooth out. Here's a look at the underside of the forward hull. Shows the 2 port and starboard floodlights. The square opening in the middle is the launch bay for the flying sub. Again, another clean surface, no flash around the edges. And here we see the launch bay, again, with doors. I'm going to assume the doors roll up like a garage door does. Sliding left to right, they wouldn't work. There's just not enough room. But it's science fiction, so anything's possible. The Seaview is probably bigger on the inside than it is on the out, right? And now we have the tail fins. They're nice and smooth, clean surface. It looks as if the only seam I'm going to have to worry about cleaning up is where the stern connects to the deck. It also has housing for the navigation lights in the fin tips. This is the underside of those tail fins. I'm planning on, or just hoping to, light up the sub. So I was excited to see there's already a channel in place to run the wiring. Now we move topside to the deck behind the conning tower. Here we get the missile launch tube hatches. They offer you the option of 16 or 20 missile launch tube hatches. The 20 missile option also gives the opportunity to have the Polaris missile launching from Seaview. Well, I wanted to portray the missile launch, so I guess it's going to be the 20. Hell, you can never have too many missiles, right? Also, both options have a hatch. It sits behind the conning tower, and I believe it's the exit point for the dive chamber that's in the missile and torpedo room. I'm thinking about trying to open the hatch. Maybe have a diver or two coming out. Remember those bright orange and yellow wetsuits? Yeah, you can see those things a mile away. I don't know what they were thinking. Now, we see the overhead, the ceiling of the flying sub launch bay. I'm trying to decide if I want to have the flying sub in the bay or have it launching. I'm thinking about having it as it just launched, kind of like on the box, and then light up the launch bay with the doors open. Next up, we have the bulkheads and framing girders for the launch bay. I'm really happy with the details of the framing girders. All those web openings, it looks really good. Nice idea. Moving along, inside the sub, we have the deck of the main control room. It has the helm positions and air seats. Then there's the periscope island. And behind that is the base for the vertical navigation plotter. Down here in the right corner is a bulkhead. I believe that hatch leads out into the passageway that goes up and down the ship. And that little opening would define the area of the radio shack, where you'll find Sparks hard at work. Check out the control room workstations, port and starboard sides. Very detailed. And if you know the show, you'll recognize the torpedo missile launch controls and the view screens. Now we come to the conning tower, the sail. There are 2 hatches on each side of the con. One opens to the deck, and the higher one will exit out onto the dive plane. Looking down into the sail, we see another hatch. The details on this are pretty great. Now, she's not going anywhere without her propellers. And we have these huge propellers. Aren't they pretty? So a friend told me I'd be very impressed with this next part. Boy, was he correct. What we have here is the spiral staircase that leads from the control room deck to the observation lounge. At least I think that's where it goes. Maybe it leads to the same place that Chuck Cunningham went. Next up is the diving bell. Pretty detailed, but I don't see a dog handle in the box. But that'll be an easy scratch build. I might even have a small wheel in the parts box. It will be painted the same bright yellow as the flying sub. And speaking of the flying sub, FS1, I'm pretty amazed at how much detail they did get into the FS1. It could actually be a model all to its own. But I wouldn't separate it from the Seaview. Hey campers, so how cool does that Seaview kit look, huh? It's amazing. I can't wait to get my hands in there and get to building. My game plan is to post some video updates along the way, but it's not going to happen soon. I've got to get some projects off the bench first.
I'm gonna need the whole bench. It's 38 inches long, man. So watch out for those video updates. And until then, remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family and your friends, take care of your neighbors, take care of everybody. We're all in this mess together. Adios.